Hi folks, I'm Jason and this is my daily vlog called Living with CMT. I hope you enjoy. Evening folks, happy Wednesday evening. It's 7:20 and it's been a strange day actually. It's been busy, I've had things to do, things to sort out. I've got two movie reviews to do. They are two films I watched last night and it's coming up now, and they are for The Doll 1 and The Doll 2. Now, they don't follow what I'll explain. Right, The Doll is on Netflix, and it's an Indonesian film with subtitles. And at first, when I started watching it, I was a bit bored with it for the first half an hour or so because it didn't seem to be going anywhere. The story behind it basically is a man and a woman move into an apartment because the bloke's just got promoted, and basically he is in charge of clearing this land so that a new supermarket mall thing could be built. Anyway, standing in the way is this tree, and in this tree is a doll, and the doll is supposed to contain the spirit of a young girl who was murdered. Anyway, the guy's got to clear the land, so he cuts down the tree, or he gets his men to cut down the tree. Anyway, this doll mysteriously ends up in his truck and it ends up back at his home. Now his wife just happens to be a doll maker, and she likes this doll for some strange reason, even though it's the creepiest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. And it's basically what happens is it's a revenge story really, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. Now what starts off as a tame film ends up quite gruesome, to be honest with you. It surprised me, it really did surprise me, and I was that impressed with it I gave it a 6. And it's like I say, it's an Indonesian horror film, and I was a bit wary of it because I've seen some fantastic Japanese horror films. I've watched all the Ring trilogies and the Grudges, you know, the original Rings and Grudge, not the ones that the Americans did, the original ones, which were 10 times creepier for me, 10 times. But I gave this a bash and I thought it was pretty good. I thought the specials were a bit dodgy in places. You'll see that when you watch it. I'm not going to give too much away because even though I do give away spoilers, I would not spoil the film because it has got a good story to it, to be honest with you. But it does take some getting into, so stick with it if you get a chance. And it's called The Doll. Now, The Doll 2 is not a direct sequel as such, because it's not about the first doll, and it's not about the possession from the first doll. This is a totally different doll. And what this is, it's a couple who've got a young daughter, and one night they are going to, I think they're going to a nan's or something, and they're involved in a car crash. The bloke's brakes fail and they're involved in a car crash. Now the man and the woman survive and the daughter dies. Now it goes forward 9 months after this, and the woman is still in pieces. She can't get her head round it, she can't accept that her daughter's gone, and the man, he's sort of trying to get his wife to move on. Now what happens is a friend comes to stay with her, another female friend, who suggests that in order to stop this woman from locking herself away, sort of thing, you know, to move on from the girl's death, that they try and invoke her spirit into her favourite doll. Don't ask. Anyway, they try to invoke her spirit into her favourite doll. Now one of the things of this is they're supposed to do a prayer after to get the spirit back from the doll into you know, the girl, like sort of thing. Anyway, they don't realise that it's worked. They think it hasn't worked, so they don't bother doing another prayer. What they don't realise is this girl has come back, but not as the girl they remembered. And this doll isn't exactly a possessed doll. It isn't running around like Chucky or nothing, but it contains the spirit of this girl. And this girl is now one warped girl. She's only about 7 in it, or 8 I think, but I tell you something, mate, you would not want to come face to face with her. Anyway, what basically happens now is this woman starts seeing her and stuff like this, and the bloke thinks that his wife's going mental. She ends up seeing psychiatrists, and they go away on holidays to try and escape from it. And this doll spirit thing keeps leaving her these clues to something, but she doesn't know what the clues are. So it's very Japanesey type thing how they've done it. Now the only connection between 1 and 2 is that both of them have a woman who basically can trap spirits in dolls permanently, so that they can't do any harm. And it's the same woman in both films. Now that's the only thing that links the films, because there's nothing else that links them. They're totally different stories, but together as a pair. I watched both last night, and again, they are gruesome. They are really gory in places. So if you like your horror films and you don't mind subtitles, then you will enjoy them both. And I would give the second one 8. I would give the second one 8 because I found that one a lot better than the first one. So Doll 1, 6, Doll 2, 8. Right, I'm going to have a bit of fun with you. As you know, tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and I'm a poet. So a while ago, I got to thinking about how you would go about trying to impress a woman, trying to impress her and make her feel like she's the only one for you. And I imagine this guy, I don't know, 19, 20, he's fallen in love with this girl. He wants to tell her how he feels, so he writes it down, and it's brilliant. He's wrote it down, and it's brilliant. He can't quite pluck up the courage to go and read it to her until he's been for a few jars. So he goes for a few jars. He then comes out the pub with the poem and tries to read it to the girl. Now this is called the Drunk's Declaration of Love. I will read what it's supposed to be and how it comes out. Right? How it's supposed to be is this. My darling girlfriend, I love you to bits. You're the one I adore. You make the sun shine and the blue sky roll. I love you for the rest of my days. Let no one tell you different. You're my world and I will never leave you. Please say you love me as I love you. Take my hand and walk with me. For you are my reason for living. Forever yours, your loving boyfriend. Now that's what it's supposed to have said. But unfortunately, he had a few jars. And it came out like this. My dearling Philgrind, I love you to bats. You are the one I adore. You make the sun shine and the blue sky roll. I will leave you for the rest of my days. Let no swan tell you difficult. You are my worm and I will never leave you. Please say you live my, as I live you. Take me band and whack with mo. For you are my reason for leaving. From Heather York's, your loving boyfriend. And I wrote that a while ago, shortly before I wrote the one that was yesterday's, which was the Drunken Chef's Hangover Cure. And I've always done the impersonation of being drunk, and I just imagined what it would be like if a sort of bloke decided to do that sort of thing. So I hope you enjoyed that poem anyway. The rest of my day has literally consisted of doing surveys. I received the Valentine's card I wanted for Deb in the post today because a friend of mine makes them for me. Sarah Hovel down in Leicester makes them for me, and she makes me some brilliant cards, she really does. And she's part of the Saran's Bespoke Emporium I told you about that's on Facebook. Really fantastic site. I'll show you the card, but not yet, obviously, because my wife hasn't seen it. I've written a poem for it because I made the mistake one year of not putting a poem in one because I thought she'd be fed up of them, and that did not go down well at all because she loves my poetry and she wanted a poem in it. Excuse me a minute. That, by the way, is oaked whiskey coffee. I'll tell you about it another time. But yeah, so that's been my day today. I've done lots of surveys and stuff. We've just had tea not long ago. I'm going to watch another film or two in a minute, I think, actually. I'm going to go up and partake of another couple of films to rate for you, because I love doing it. I watched some bizarre films, I must admit. But yeah, they were really good last night, the ones I rated earlier. They weren't bad at all. I was surprised, because like I said, the first one started off quite boring. You've got to stick with it for the first 35, 40 minutes. Otherwise, you know, you might switch it off and go, this is garbage, but it isn't. It isn't. I mean, the overacting is a bit much, and the music in the first one is a problem, because whenever anything sinister happens, the music's dead loud, and it's too loud and too horrible. You know, it's like, oh man, you could have done without that. But all in all, like I said, they were good films. Now, I didn't watch any football last night. I know the Champions League was on, and I know I normally watch the Champions League, but I couldn't bring myself to watch it last night. I fancied watching some films, and I saw that Manchester United lost 2-0 to Paris Saint-Germain. That didn't surprise me in a way, because Paris Saint-Germain gave us, Liverpool, a hell of a game at Anfield, and we only just beat them. And then obviously they beat us at their place. I think Man United will get the revenge on Sunday. I think they'll beat Liverpool on Sunday. I really do. I mean, I'm Not just saying that. I think they will beat us. I think they'll beat us 1 or 2-0. I don't think we'll score past them. I think Solskjaer will do a good job as manager of Man United, and I don't think you can let last night's game really have much effect on whether he becomes manager or not. I think he should be given a chance. He's already got more wins up under his belt than, you know, Mourinho did, and that's in this season that's pretty good going because he had some really good results. I don't know. I mean, Liverpool next week have got Bayern Munich. They got Man United, and then 3 days later I think they've got Bayern Munich. It's like, oh my good God. So we've got some tough games coming up. I think it's make or break. If we win Man United and beat Bayern Munich, then fantastic. But if we could lose both of those games easily. I went to the hospital today. My friend took me next door. He took me up to get my caliper because it's been fixed. And there was a man there, I'm not kidding you now, I've never seen somebody so arrogant in my life. He was standing in front of me, and he was only at the surgical appliance department, and he stood there, and I saw the woman say to him, Luke said, at the moment, the guy who deals with it is just seeing somebody at the moment in the room. When he's finished, he'll come and fetch you. Can you sit in the hallway? This guy went nuts. He started cursing, and this is bloody ridiculous. I've got to go here tomorrow, and I've got to have a taxi and a train or such and such, and my foot's killing me, and this shouldn't be happening. And the woman had just said to him, look, somebody will deal with you. Just go and sit on a chair for a minute until he's finished with somebody. This bloke wasn't having it. He was cursing. And I got thinking, how ungrateful is that? These are understaffed and knackered, and they're taking abuse from somebody who basically can't even obey a simple instruction. I mean, I had a right laugh with them. I got there and I said to her, I just laughed. I said to the woman, I said, well, can't you just go in and grab the other person out and grab by the scruff of the neck and drag him out just for that bloke? And the woman just looked at me and smiled, and I just said, I tell you what, I said, some people are dead arrogant. They really are arrogant. And I didn't help matters because I said to her, I'm here to pick up my caliper. I've had a new caliper, fixed like. So she goes away, she comes back, says, what name is it? I said, Jason Skin Cotton. She went, no calipers here. I thought, weird. She says, hang on a minute. Anyway, she goes away, types in the postcode and all that stuff, comes back, says, it's a shoe. I said, yeah. I said, but it's part of a caliper. I said, it was being fixed. She says, oh, she said, I thought you wanted it. I said, I was looking for a full caliper. I said, no, it was my shoe being fixed. But it was a misunderstanding, and we just laughed about it. I didn't have a paddy and say, well, how come you've taken so long? You should listen to my instructions, blah, blah, blah. But people are too hard on them. They're too hard. I mean, I would not like that job in a million years because I suffer with stress anyway. And I can imagine that if somebody started mouthing off to me, I'd shove the caliper down the throat. And that would be me being done for assault. I just don't understand how people can be so arrogant and nasty to people. I mean, they're only doing a job. I can understand, don't get me wrong, if it's something like an operation that's been cancelled and people are going mad and saying, when am I going to get it, etc., etc. But all this was to see somebody about his shoe. That's all it was. It wasn't life or death. He wasn't bleeding to death. He didn't have a ruptured spleen or something daft. All he had was a foot that was hurting him. Well, hello. Everybody who goes in there's got a foot that hurts them. Get a life, you sad person. Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind, but he weren't young. He must have been late 50s, early 60s. And I just laughed it off. I always do when things like that happen. Because at the end of the day, they've got enough stress without me adding to it. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, I just think some people are weird. What else? Yes, went on to Amazon today, got some vouchers from my survey companies and ordered myself my case for my webcam and my extension cable, because at the moment the cable on it only stretches about 3 foot. Now that's not much use if I'm going to set the tripod up and start filming in summer when I'm on the decking, because I want film from a distance if I'm doing anything that needs to be seen from a distance, like. So I've got a big cable coming on, it's 9 meters or something, and also a case for packing away my webcam so it don't get damaged, because it's a really good webcam. I've not had a webcam this good before, thanks to my wife, for Valentine's Day. For Valentine's Day, that's what we're doing tomorrow. We're just going to chill out and have the day. Deb's got stuff to do, I've got stuff to do, and then we're going to settle down and we're going to have a takeaway in the evening, and we're watching a couple of romantic movies, which will be interesting because we're watching, let me get this right, one is Sex Tape, which I've never seen, but apparently it's supposed to be hilarious, and it's also dead, crude but funny, so I will give that a bash and see what I think. And there's another one as well, but I can't remember what that one's called. Last Chance Harvey, I think it's called, with Dustin Hoffman in. So we're going to give that one a bash as well tomorrow night. Anyway, that's me done for today. I've talked your legs off. You all take care. Thank you for all the comments on my videos. Thank you for all the likes. And I'll keep it going. You take care. Love you all. Bye for now. Thank you for watching my daily vlog. I hope it was informative and interesting. If you like what I'm doing, then you can subscribe to my channel by clicking there. And if you want to see exactly what I was talking about yesterday, you can look up there. Bye for now.